What time it is? It's time. You guessed it. It's
Get
time for About Your House with Ray Terry today riding solo for hour number 1. David Richardson's coming in hour number 2. They're going to be talking about put tools in schools in hour number 2. But Ray, hour number 1, he's going to be talking about, well, everything under the sun.
We're going to talk about summer. We're going to talk about summertime. It's hot. Summertime's here. We're going to talk about it.
Anything and everything. Nothing's off limits.
We're going to try.
We're going to try real hard. Real hard.
Who's brought to you by?
It's brought to you by Queen City Home Store.
There you go.
Queen City Home Store. It's a family-owned store. You see the TV screen right there. Been serving the Carolinas for over 70 years. It's a long time. The largest independent appliance retailer in the Carolinas. They're constantly growing while also taking pride in the experience that they offer customers with a knowledgeable sales staff, product selection, and lowest price guarantee. About Your House is also brought to you in part by PutToolsInSchools.org, connecting students to tools of the trades, raising awareness of the many career pathways. So sit back, relax, and enjoy some time with us. And now, here's your host, Ray Terry.
Yes, me. Good to be here. Happy Saturday to you if you're listening to us on Fox Sports Charlotte. We download this show every Tuesday and rebroadcast on Saturday mornings on Fox Sports Charlotte. We are Facebook Live, YouTube Live right now. We're in the podcast studio at the Toolbox. Yeah. Summertime's here. I'm going to talk first hour about things, and I want to apologize if I sound like I repeat all the time, but after doing this show for quite a few years, 36 now. I've replayed and rehashed so many things on this program, it's unreal. But today I want to talk about hot weather and some things we need to bring to the forefront, because we don't fight the temperature, we fight the humidity. So we're going to discuss some things around it, and I'm also going to talk about QC, quality control, in a big sense, about the way we're dealing with quality construction, or we're not dealing with it. You know, I bring up Put Tools in Schools a lot on this program, and I know some of you through the years have said, I'm tired of hearing about it. Well, let me tell you something. You're going to hear about it, because it's your problem as much as it is anybody's problem. And we collectively, as a village, city, nation, we need to confront it and deal with it. And we're going to talk about it every week on this show called About Your House, because I said I'd talk about the quality. I was in a new house. Well, when I say new, it's less than 10 years old. It was a teardown. And when I say teardown, what I mean, and obviously y'all know what a teardown is, it's a house that's been built new on an old lot in a existing housing development or subdivision or part of town like Plaza Midwood or Dilworth or the Myers Park. A lot of even Windsor Park now, you got teardowns going on. It's going on in all older communities of Charlotte, even some that you wouldn't even expect, you know, like Greertown, you know, over there in Greer Heights. Back when we grew up, it was called Greertown. Now we refer to it as Greer Heights.
People still refer to it as Greertown, though, the locals.
Oh, yeah, sure. Well, Greer Heights is a great example of a rundown part of town, you know, that needed some uplifting. And there's houses over there being torn down and rebuilt brand new, and that's a great example of teardowns. Well, I went into a teardown yesterday to put a vent hood in. And it was a challenge, let me tell you, but I loved it because it was a challenge. I like hard things. You know, it wouldn't come out of the it was a liner vent hood, and I talked a little bit about it, and I hope you can connect with what I'm saying. But I went over there, a friend of mine, Joe Jones, I wish he was here, he's a great guy, but he went over to assist me, because sometimes I need a little assistance, and he's my right hand. Anyway, he went with me, and couldn't get the vent hood liner out of the cabinet, and I had no access behind the cabinetry to access the top of the vent hood to disconnect the ductwork from it, you know, which posed a big challenge. How in the world am I going to get this hood out if I can't access the top of it or the space behind it? Well, what I did was take a metal grinder, cut the top completely out of the existing vent hood so it would fall out of the hole and the connection. And then I shaved off, made it flat, and literally put the new vent into took that same flange off the brand new vent hood with my metal grinder as well, spot welds, broke my spot welds, took off my plate, slid the new vent hood up into place of the old one. It meshed perfectly with the plate that I had just cleaned up. It worked like a champ. I love jobs like that. But as I tell you that right there, that's critical thinking. If I didn't have the experience and the knowledge to use my head and with tools, very few people would have gone in there and did what I did, or would have known what to do or how to do it. They would have probably torn the cabinet up or torn something up beyond fixable. And these type things happen very frequently. And here's what I want to mention, and I've talked about it in weeks past. The quality of construction in the era we're living in right now is less than what it should be. And it's becoming more and more prevalent, a lack of quality. And it's not necessarily a lack of quality, it's a lack of knowledge. The workers of today aren't well versed in the methodologies of proper construction. And sad but true. And it's because they took the trades out of the schools. And it's affecting us all. Matter of fact, Joe was with me. He says, I couldn't believe the quality I saw in that house. Frankly, I could not either. But this is what the sad part about all that, the sad part about it is we're looking at it as normal, as a culture. Oh, that's just normal. No, it's not normal. Shouldn't be normal. What happened to quality? What happened to pride, craftsmanship? Well, it's gone by the byway because we're not teaching it. And that's the whole idea behind Put Tools in Schools and going back to the trades. We must step up. When kids don't know what they are when they go through middle school, we got a problem. Okay, we'll talk about that second hour because a lot of good news. I want to talk about hot weather. Sunday was the first day of summer. June 21st, my son's birthday as well. He was 48 years old. Happy birthday to Reuben. And also it was Father's Day. Happy Father's Day, belated Father's Day to all you fathers out there.
Happy Father's Day, Ray.
I should have talked to you last week about it, but this whole schedule around this new podcast time, and we're aired on Fox Sports Charlotte Saturday after Tuesday when we air the show. So I'm just getting used to it. I've been whining and complaining about it long enough. It's about time I get over it. But let me tell you something about the podcast studio. It's been a big challenge. Technology. We've got cameras that are on the fritz, and we're using a temporary camera now, but we're working on it. But the technology part of this can be overwhelming, and it has been. But we're going to get there. But the time frames and working out the schedules and all, it's just been a challenge for me because there's a lot going on. And like me, I'm no different from most people out there this day and time. We're too busy. We're way too busy. Most of us are on overload. And I talk to people every day about scheduling, and we're on overload because nobody has the time anymore to do much. And it's okay, but the biggest thing we can do is communicate. And that's even become a challenge, communicating, because there's so much ground to cover. But I'm excited about all the growth, the possibilities here at the Toolbox, what we're doing around Put Tools in Schools, and a lot of great things. But right now, it's summertime, so let's talk about it. All right. Let me put my glasses on so I can read my list here. I made me a good list today because I wanted to talk about things that, well, first thing I want to talked about the quality. Second thing I want to talk about is fear. I got to talk about the fear. I mean, Rishton and I talked about it a little bit before the show today, about how fear is very prevalent in our culture. And we all look at screens a great deal, and we're being bombarded with negativity and just crazy stuff. And it's affecting us all. We've got this fear-mongering going on in our mainstream media, social media, and everything else is full of fear. I personally have been aware of it. It's working on me. I don't like fear. Fear is my enemy. Fear will cripple you, and fear is crippling a lot of people right now, especially our youth. So I just want to bring that to the forefront. And a lot of people say, my kids aren't fearful. The heck they're not. Rishton, are you fearful?
Yes.
Most people are. What are we going to do about that? I'll tell you what I've done about it. I've cut social media down. But the unfortunate thing about that is I need to be on social media to put the word out about what we can do to fix it.
I've cut most of my social media use overall just for that reason. Because even if you try to avoid negativity, it finds you somehow, some way,
right,
one way or another on social media.
It does.
The algorithm, it's
right.
Majority, 90% of it's just negativity.
But I want to say that if you have purpose and servitude and a reason to get up every morning, and you can focus on what you need to do and live in gratitude for what you do have. You know, I'm working with a lot of kids right now, and we're very fortunate and blessed to have what we have, you know, and a lot of people don't have, and a lot of people are struggling right now. But the fear factor is just overwhelming with most people right now, and I'm dealing with this myself, just like everybody in our culture. But let's work on it together and spread love. Spread love, you know, because love's the answer to all this. It truly is. It's care, compassion, empathy. That's what love's all about. Caring about your fellow man and doing something about it. You know, I have great purpose in what I'm doing with Put Tools in Schools, and the kids that I'm working with, and the young and older adults, because it's very needed. But right now, once again, I've said it 3 times. Let me plow this garden called summertime. Biggest thing I want to tell you about right now is condensation. Everybody has air conditioning. Everybody that has air conditioning. The air conditioner is nothing more than a dehumidifier. That's what it is, basically. It's whole house dehumidifier, basically. Now, your condensation drain. Every AC's got the byproduct of air conditioning is water. Now, how do you get water? I'm going to explain a little science to you here on the show today, and I've done it many times, but you need to understand it. That water in the air is eliminated through condensation, through your air conditioning. Now, you have an air intake, an air return. The air in your house will go in this air return, takes the air, and blows it across an evaporator coil, which is an A coil, typically. They come in various configurations, but A coil works for me, but it's an evaporator coil. And the air goes across and through that evaporator coil. Well, that evaporator coil, it puts the air at about 58 degrees. And what happens when you got warm air coming in that air return, going across that 58-degree evaporator coil, warm air over cold surface, what happens? What happens, Richard?
When the warm air meets the cold air, it starts the condensation.
Water.
It
starts condensation. So that condensation drips into a pan in the evaporator, below the evaporator coil. That pan's got a drain on it. Every central air conditioning has a condensate drain. If you don't know where yours is, homework assignment, go find it. Go see what it is. Now, a lot of condensate drains are in crawl spaces. A lot of condensate drains, all of them are on the air handling unit, where the evaporator coil is, where it lives, where it stays, in a plenum, in a main piece of ductwork that all the air goes through. Chills that air, byproduct from the warm air going across the evaporator coil, byproduct is condensation, water. It goes into a drain pan, it's got a drain on it, and it goes to the exterior of your house. Or somehow, in some cases, there's a plumbing drain there, a drain trap with a trap on it. Now, if you live on a slab home and your air handler's sitting in the house somewhere on that slab, you better darn well be familiar with your condensate drain. Because if not, you're going to have an insurance claim. And you're going to have a lot of stress attached to it, because I allude to the craziness going on out there in this here world we live in as far as the trades go. Why stress yourself? Learn what a condensate drain is, learn where it's at, and learn how to clean it out and service it on a semi-annual basis. When I say semi-annual, right now, You know where your condensate drain is, Richard?
No, sir.
Why?
Well, ignorance.
There you go. That's fair. That's
put it
fair.
straight.
That's fair. Then go home and find your condensate drain.
Will do. Homework this
Seriously,
week.
find it. I mean, if you don't know, and I got reminded of this morning when I went outside there and saw my condensate drain. There's a big old pile of water. I said, there you go. That's one of the things we need to talk about. Because personally, I've had a slab home with a clogged condensate drain, and it backed up and wet all my carpet. Walked in spongy one day. I heard it squish, squish, squish. I said, oh, gosh.
Not ideal.
I knew exactly what it was and went to it and fixed it. That was the first time it happened. This has been about 20 years ago. And ever since, I put I've made a connection on the condensate drain that made it easier to clean and access. But once again, if you live on a slab home, it should be a major concern to you. Because now, condensate drains, if you have an air handler, a unit up in your attic, it's very important that you understand where the condensate drains go. And typically you have an emergency overload pan, emergency override pan below the evaporator coil, for when the evaporator coil drain is blocked up, it will overflow into the emergency pan. Now, some houses have a little pipe sticking out of the soffit over a window. And when you see water coming out that pipe, and a lot of people don't know what that pipe is. That pipe is your emergency pan, condensate, overflow pan, drain. And when it's coming out of there, you better call a service tech to get somebody in there to do service on your condensate drain. Bottom line, this is something that's easily cleaned. Some newer units have a little brush they hang or attach to the unit beside the condensate drain that you can just run through, because there's typically a little trap, and you clean out that trap, and it works very well. But condensate drains are big. Now let's go somewhere and talk about the weather a little bit. I got up on the screen here the weather forecast. You can see it behind me here. Look. Friday, this coming Friday. Let's go to tomorrow. Look at the weather, folks. You got 97 degrees, 87, 91, 92, 94, 91, 94. And look at the rain forecast. There is none, really.
We got some rain in South Charlotte this morning.
We got a shower pop through.
Not much.
Big old shower popped through here yesterday in North Charlotte, and it may have had a downpour for about 15 minutes, and then
that's it.
Buzzed away. And I want to talk about that. The afternoon thunderstorms, afternoon showers. Are you ready for that? Do you know about water drainage and all that? We're talking about the condensate drain. Let's wipe that off the table here. If you don't know where your condensate drain exits the house, just like your dryer vent, it's one of those things that you should know, because you should go out there. If it's not dripping, you got a problem, because it should be dripping. And beware. A lot of people have no clue where their condensate drain goes. And once again, slab homes, especially important. Attics, especially important, because when you got water coming through your ceiling, you got an issue. And these things happen. And right now, we're moving into the summer, hot, humid months, and it's time to be aware of certain things that will cost you money and time, and mostly just stress. We don't need stress. We don't. No more. And I got to talk about attic tents. How many times have I talked about attic tents?
Countless. Lost count.
Now, why do I talk about attic tents so many times? Because they're really important it doesn't have to be an attic tent, but it can serve the same purpose and meet the same goals. If you've got a pull-down stairway, a pull-down attic access, disappearing stair, fold down. Yeah, that's right. If you have a disappearing stair in your house and you've got an air return close. Not if you do have a disappearing stairway, you need an attic tent. I don't care. I don't care what kind of house you got or whatever. Now let me explain what it does. It creates a barrier, an air barrier between the house and the attic, between your building envelope, basically your cooling and heating building envelope. And it creates a barrier. Now, what do I mean by that? You can put an attic tent in, install an attic tent with a staple gun and a caulking gun. And you can go online, YouTube, and look up Ray Terry. And I've put a video in there. It's been seen over 1,200 times. I think it has. Somebody said that one.
Yeah, it's on the About Your House radio.
It is About
It's
Your
on
House
About
radio.
Your House radio's YouTube.
It takes you all of 10. If you never install one, you can do it in less than 30 minutes. If you've installed one, I can go install an attic tent in less than 10, 15 minutes. That's how easy it is. I've done quite a few of them. But you can go online, attictent.com, or you can go on Amazon. They've got products very similar to it. Find what your product is. And like I said, but sizing is important because disappearing stairways come in two different widths, a 22 and a 25. The 22 is typically between trusses. 25 is in a hallway where it's stick built, but it doesn't matter. 25 and 22, but you need to know how to read a measuring tape. Yeah. Because learning how to read a measuring tape is essential because you need to figure out whether it's a 22 or 25, whatever brand or resource you might buy from. So that's attic tent. And what that does, let me explain the science behind that once again. This is a biggie. Oh, weather. Let me get out of the weather frame.
Just saying it can be distracting.
You've got 140 today. What did I say the weather was today?
I think it's like
high 87, I think it is. So we're pushing 90 degrees today. In your attic today, your attic in most houses in Charlotte will be around 140 to 150 degrees.
Well, the heat index today is going to be in the 90s.
Yeah.
Sure.
Oh, absolutely. So your attic air, and the ambient air in the attic is 140, 150 degrees. Now, we're going to talk a little bit about attic ventilation, which is essential in keeping your attic as cool as possible. But remember, you got 140 degree air in your attic, 150. So every time your air conditioning comes on, you are literally creating negative air pressure, and you're sucking air through that crack, through your attic air, through that crack around your disappearing stairway, right into the air return, creating more work, more energy consumption. Your air conditioning is working harder. So therefore, if you minimize that air exchange, you're going to take a lot of load off your AC and you'll create more comfort. Because believe it or not, there's 140 degree air coming in that crack, going straight in the air return. You're overworking your unit. Attic tent's one of the most valuable little things you can do to create greater comfort and less energy consumption. Remember that. And it works. They work. Now, if I've got 140 degree air, and I've talked about this a lot lately, and it's been very popular too, is encapsulating that attic. Encapsulating the attic. And speaking of that, if you're interested in encapsulating an attic, let's talk about our sponsors here. Yeah. ABS. You got ABS on docket. I know they're last, but ABS.
Yeah, we'll do ABS. That works.
ABS Insulation. ABS Insulation been around quite a few years, many years here in Charlotte. Mr. Hoppy Allen Hoppy came to Charlotte, opened an insulation business, made it thrive, and now Danny Allen on the show here a few weeks back talking about what they can do to give you greater comfort and less energy cost. And they're good at that. That's ABS Insulating. Open cell, closed cell foam, encapsulating attic. Give them a call, a question. There are things you need to be aware of if you encapsulate your attic. We're going to talk about that here on the show when we come back out of this break. That's absinsulating.com. absinsulating.com. And now that we've got summer thunder boomers coming around, a lot of rainfall, you need gutters checked. You need gutters cleaned out. Just this week I was at a house and said, Ray, who do I call to get my gutters cleaned and checked? I said, ABS Insulating. Why would an insulating company fix gutters? Because they're good at it and they know what they're doing. They've got a division just specifically for gutter cleaning, gutter prep, gutter repair, gutter installation, whatever you need. That's absinsulating.com. And don't forget about Rhino Lift, Rhino Lift Foundation Solutions. That's rhinoliftfoundationsolutions.com. Been in the Charlotte area a few years now, doing great work. Satisfaction guaranteed. Licensed contractor in both North and South Carolina. If you've got foundation issues, crawl space issues, slab sinking, driveway sinking, you need concrete work and foundation work done, call Rhino Lift Foundation Solutions. That's rhinoliftfoundations.com. And let's don't forget the crawl space issue, in which we will talk about in this show. Kilo Exterminating, your inspection company. Now, what do I mean by inspection? Every year, especially this time of the year or the summer months, the hot, humid months, you need to have someone go into that house and inspect for wood destroying or wood destroying insects or other things, critters, whatever. Kilo Exterminating, they'll do a thorough inspection, give you 3 to 5 moisture readings depending on the size of the house. They'll give you moisture readings which indicate the amount of moisture and humidity in the structure of your house. Kilo.biz. That's Kilo.biz. And today we're talking about those hot, humid days. And, you know, the hottest, humidest month, most humid month would be August. So, you know, that's a great month to have Kilo come by and inspect your crawl space, because you would be surprised at how many ducts, heating and AC ducts in crawl spaces have been knocked down due to critters or workmen or whatever, and you don't even know it, and you're wasting that energy. Well, if somebody goes in there and inspects it, they come out and they'll give you a report on it. So there you go. So that's Kilo.biz. Give them a call. They'll be glad to come out and inspect and do those moisture readings and let you know how your crawl space looks. So, hot, humid, go back up in the attic. Let's talk about the attic. I left there. Let's go back up there. It's hot, 140, 150 degrees. Every time your air conditioner comes on, you're sucking that air out, right? 140, 150 degrees. And you're overworking. You think, okay, what can you do about it? A lot of people during the summer months can't get adequate comfort in the attic. How's your house? You got a 2-story house. How's upstairs?
It can get hot, yeah. It can get hot.
It gets hotter, right?
Yeah.
Well, the solution to the hot upstairs is really pretty simple. Costly, not that costly relative to the space. For example, if you have a 2,000 square foot house, 2,400, 1,800, 2-story house in Charlotte, well, that puts a footprint at around 1,000 square foot, right? 1,000 square foot. To encapsulate an attic with open cell spray foam, it reduces that 150 degree air down to about 80. Never give above 80 degrees. Now think about it. Hot summer day like today, your attic's 140 degrees. It runs a cycle, cuts off. Your air conditioner runs a cycle, cuts off. All the air in that ductwork in your attic turns to 140 degree air. All the attic, all the ductwork, all that air in the ductwork turns into 140 degrees. It's in the attic, for Pete's sake, right? It's in the attic. So every time your air conditioner comes on, you get this burst of hot air. I mean, it doesn't last, 5-10 seconds, but you get this burst of hot air. More hot air you got to take back into the system and cool. When you reduce it to 80 degrees in your attic, encapsulating the attic, that eliminates that issue. Think about that. Your air conditioner would straining to keep up right now in the hot. You encapsulate your attic, it reduces the load, it reduces so much, but most of all, it reduces your power bill, your energy bill. Now, it's an investment because you're going to spend $2,000 to $5,000 encapsulating an attic, but that return is a lot cheaper than buying a new air conditioner, and it works. So that's a consideration, you know. And one of the things you can do as we move into the hot months, too, is check for air leaks. Now, what do I mean by air leaks? Well, one thing, open windows. There's a lot of houses out there that, you know, kids come, your grandkids come in the house, or your kids come in, open the bedroom window, and you never know it's open. They just leave it open, and then one day, then this happened to me on jobs several times. I go in a house and, you know, I'm doing something, and I look over and there's a window open, and then I tell the homeowner, I said, "You know your window was open." I had no idea. There again, every
Jesus.
time.
How do you have no idea?
They don't know. They don't go inspect.
Huh. Interesting.
Yeah, very.
I mean,
But
somebody just climb in your window, you wouldn't even know it.
that's right. You got that right. Well, this is the kind of thing that happens, you know, and that's why I want to talk about it since we're going into the summer months. Hot, humid weather is dreadful. I mean, I don't know if the humidity is right now, but it's humid, and I can look it up on the weather situation here. You know how come a phone when you need it doesn't work? You gotta.
It's technology.
When you need technology, it don't work. I'm gonna find out what the humidity today is, if you don't mind. Now, naturally, these ads come up and everything else and get in your way. Guess what it is? 79%. 79%? Man. Now, speaking of 79% humidity, you got a crawl space. You got a crawl space, right? And now it's 79% humidity outside. It's supposed to be 87 degrees. Feels like 91. 79%. Well, let me read that again. 79%. That's muggy. Okay. 79% humidity outside. You got a crawl space. Your crawl space vents are open, maybe. This is why I tell you to close them. Your crawl space vents are open. The 8x16 holes in your foundation, they're open. You got hot, humid air coming in these crawl space vents into your open air crawl space, right? Hot, humid air. Now you got air conditioning ducts, AC ducts under your house that you're carrying 58-degree air through, called air. Conditioned air. So you got 58-degree air going in your ductwork. Then you got 87-degree hot, humid air coming in your crawl space vents. What do we got it coming off the duct, Richard?
Off the duct?
Yeah. When you get hot air and cold air, what happens?
Oh, it's condensation.
More water.
Water.
In some crawl spaces, it literally rains under them. Drip, drip, drip off the ductwork. Mm-hmm. And it can be horrendous, a lot. I know because I've crawled under hundreds, if not thousands, of crawl spaces in my career. And I've seen this. And I'm talking about it now because it's here. It's summertime. I do this every year, probably twice every summer, go over all this information because it's out of sight, out of mind. You don't know it's doing it. You don't open your crawl space. I'll tell you a little trick. If you go and open your crawl space door and you feel this blast of cold air, it's automatically telling you got duct leakage under your house. You shouldn't feel a blast of cold air. You should not. But here's what happens also. If you've got an older system and you've got metal ductwork under your house, it's really raining, because then you've got hot, humid, moist air hitting 58-degree metal. Then you really get some condensation, because most ductwork under your house is insulated ductwork, and it's just a thermal transfer of hot and cold. But man, when you get metal, for example, you got floor registers, little 4x10 or whatever size floor registers, letting that cold air in your house from the air conditioner. There's a metal boot there. Now, if that metal boot is exposed in the crawl space and you've got 58-degree air going through it, and you've got hot, humid air hitting this boot, you've got moisture developing. Where does the moisture go? In some cases, it goes right down into that insulated ductwork and creates this big old balloon full of water dangling under your house. Now, these issues exist in many, many situations, and the way you get around them is have your crawl space inspected and another thing that I want to warn you about. In the hot summer months, if your air conditioner goes out, you're going to call a service tech, and you should have a relationship with an HVAC company. But beware, and I have to tell you this, and I don't like to, but I'm going to anyway. Upsells are very popular. When I say upsell, a capacitor is probably one of the most Well, it's probably the most. It's the biggest problem we have in ACs. Air conditioning systems is bad. Capacitors go bad. Capacitors cost anywhere from $10 to $40. It's relatively a cheap fix. Now, I'm not sure of the exact cost. I've been told and quoted by several people. But capacitors are a simple, easy fix if you know what you're doing. But you don't know. You call a service tech out. They come out to your house, and it's just a bad capacitor. Well, you're going to pay for that capacitor, believe me. And then while they're there, they're going to mention some other things that might be bad too, like you need this or you need that. These are called upsells. Be careful. A lot of times they'll come out there, you need new ductwork. You need this. I mean, we're talking thousands of dollars. You need this done. You need that done. Well, you're ignorant as a homeowner. You don't know that it needs it. You take their word for it, and they do the task, and you write them a check, pay by card, whatever. You pay for it, and they're on their way. Beware. That's all I'm going to say. Just beware. But now back to the crawl space issues. These crawl space issues develop a lot of water. That's, and here of late, 20 years, we talk about Rhino Lift Foundation Solutions. They will encapsulate your crawl space. But if you don't deal with the cause, you can deal with the cause of the moisture, the source of the moisture, which is the ductwork, through proper ventilation and closing your crawl space vents and controlling the water and the humidity. But now encapsulation is not necessarily necessary, but it seems to have become a silver bullet in the marketing scheme of things. You hear about crawl space. The encapsulation companies, the companies that do it, have just gone crazy in Charlotte.
When did that start becoming a huge thing? Past 10 years?
It started probably 20 years ago as being
long,
yeah. It's been quite a while. Man, time flies. I can't believe how time flies, and it just zooms by.
Yeah, you're not kidding.
Somebody asked me the other day, how long ago did we do so-and-so? I said, how about 15 years?
Jesus.
It just...
The older you get.
The older it gets, the faster it goes.
Mm-hmm.
But, there you go. All right, let me talk. Thunderstorms in Charlotte, very popular. Charlotte, North Carolina is high on the state's list for the most lightning strikes. I talk about this every year as well. Charlotte and the area around Charlotte is prone for a lot of lightning strikes, especially the Mint Hill area through the years. And lightning strikes can blow out your TV, your electronics, your computers. They can do some serious damage, knock out your appliances. So whole house surge protection, lightning protection, something you may want to look into.
Why do you think Mint Hill gets so many?
I don't know. But
that's interesting.
It is interesting. And typically, too, and this has been proven, if you've gotten struck once by lightning,
oh yeah,
you'll probably get struck twice.
There's some guy that's gotten struck over 3 times.
Oh yeah,
through his life.
There's a house down in Mint Hill, as I talk about Mint Hill, that got struck 3 times, and finally, Ron Helms went out there and put a whole house lightning protection on it, and he hadn't had a hit since.
Well, that's good.
But I'm telling you, whole house lightning surge protection is really important. In this day and era with computers and all being what they are, grounding and that kind of protection is essential. And we're moving in. And I'm going to tell you, I believe that the thunderstorms this year are going to be extraordinarily powerful, and I mean that. And heavy duty. And Charlotte's become a mecca for generators too. Generators are very popular, and relatively speaking, not that expensive of an investment for a house in Charlotte because of the property values. So that's a good investment too, and for elderly people, for medical reasons, and many.
You got to know how to use it, though.
What's that?
You got to know how to use it, though.
Well, those are battery. What am I thinking? Gasoline powered.
Gas.
But if you get one, a whole house generator, or a bigger generator, Generac or Kohler, or Caterpillar or whatever the brand might be. If you get those installed, then they're installed and can be installed with a natural gas fuel, and professionally done, great investment. I would highly recommend looking into it. And there's so many companies now that specialize in that, electrical companies. But there again, beware, upcharge. These companies have gotten carried away with their upcharges. Now, I'm just throwing it out there because I've been fed stories, and people call me. And it's out there, so beware. Okay, we talked about crawl spaces, summertime, attic tent. Oh, let's go back up to the attic. If you've got a power vent on your attic, chances are it's not working. So have those inspected. You need to, if you've got a attic and you don't want to pay the money to have it encapsulated or whatever, you want it to be all it can be, meaning you want it to be as efficient as it can be. So you need to ventilate it the best you possibly can. Means you need to move air. If you bring it down from 150 to 130, you're moving a substantial amount of air, and you're taking some of the load off. One of the things I want to add, and that I've done many times too, if you're contemplating or thinking about encapsulating your attic, don't do it if you need a new roof. Put the new roof on the house first, because the average deck replacement or plywood sheets on the average roof runs from 7 to 10 sheets. Well, one sheet of plywood's 32 square feet. So if you got 10 sheets, 320 square feet of foam encapsulation is going to be damaged and have to be repaired. So beware and think about that. But encapsulating an attic is very, very beneficial. But back to the ventilating.
Jeffrey Williams commented something about the temperature. He said it's 106 in Tucson today. Luckily, low humidity and monsoon season here in Tucson, but it hadn't been bad yet. But 106 sounds pretty damn bad to me. I know it's a dry heat, but hot is hot.
You know, I was in Vegas talking about the heat a few years back, and at midnight in Vegas.
Oh, Lord, yeah.
It was 102 degrees.
Yep.
I got a picture sitting on top of Circa Hotel. They got a thermostat reader up there. And I was at Queens, Four Queens.
Mm-hmm.
I always stay at Fremont because it's a little wild and crazy, but I just enjoy it better than the Strip. But anyway, 102 degrees at midnight.
I don't know how people live
But
there.
you go outside, it doesn't feel like 102 degrees. It really doesn't. It's amazing.
I was in Tempe, Arizona one time over Labor Day, and it was like 113, and it felt like every bit of 113.
It gets hot out there. But hey, we don't live in Arizona. It is a dry heat, which is different. You know, I'm just grateful we don't have that kind of heat in Charlotte. But
right.
A lot of people hate hot, humid weather, and today's a great example of. Right now, it's supposed to get up to 87 today. It feels like, what'd you say, 91?
Yeah.
And 79% humidity. Welcome to summertime in Charlotte. There we go. All right, let's talk about controlling your water, energy costs. We've hit that. Oh, one more thing I want to talk about it's kind of off the beaten path a little bit, but I want to talk about it. I went to a house this week, and somebody had built a ramp, an accessible ramp for an elderly lady, or couple actually, that have, owned this house now for many years. They went in there, and there's a big, I won't call it controversy. There's an argument with realtors and homeowners about ramps and how they might affect the property values or sellability, you might say, or curb appeal for accessible ramps. And there's a way to put a ramp on a house to add value and add appeal to a house. Ramps don't have to be ugly or take away from the property values. The most important thing about a ramp is they work well. Now, what I mean by work well, it meets the needs of the patient or the homeowner that needs the accessibility. Wheelchair, 1/4 inch per foot. That means a 1/4 inch fall per foot is code on a ramp. It shouldn't be greater than that. It should be minimal slope. But if you install one correctly, whoever installed this ramp did not do the adequate fall, and it's too steep, and that creates issues for slipping. So it works, but it doesn't really work, which is a bummer. So remember, and there are companies that specialize in ramp building, but if you get a designer, somebody that knows how to draw and create, knows a little bit about carpentry, they can put a ramp on a house that's functional and does a good job. So ramps and getting the proper ramp fall is essential for good accessibility. And there's ways to do it. And I want to throw that in there in today's show because it don't look good. It's not pretty. And I think anything that you put on your house needs to add appeal, not take away. So as far as the realtor's argument about it takes away, it doesn't have to. And I know because my parents' home, they had a front porch and they needed accessibility. And I saw it coming. So we went ahead and designed a deck, a front porch that became a big deck. And then I took the ramp off the front of it and brought it down to the driveway. Worked like a champ, beautiful, added values. It was low enough where we weren't required to have a rail, but we did in fact put a seat around it to create a safety barrier. And then we would have little reunions and what have you there, and people would sit on the little benches, eat their meal. It was very nice. And it added value to the house. And if you go by 2237 Downing Street today, you'll see that. Sitting under this big old oak tree that was about 3 inches in diameter when my parents moved into that house. Now it's, me and you couldn't reach around it, Richton.
It's 2237 Downing?
2237 Downing Street.
Might need to go drive by that house, see what it looks like.
It looks good. I was there 3 weeks ago.
How far is it from here?
Oh, it's off Kilburn. You know where Kilburn's at? It's
heard of it, but...
Not far. But anyway, and I wanted to bring that up simply because it should be. But let me talk about a few sponsors here, like Floor Coverings International, Southeast Charlotte. Floor Coverings International, Southeast Charlotte, got you covered. If you need floor covering, floor beauty, floor enhancement, you need a stair runner, you need new stair treads made of oak, made of walnut, made of whatever wood species you want. You want a custom carpet done, custom binding. You want LVP, luxury vinyl plank, LVT, luxury vinyl tile. Whatever it is you think you want, they got it. And best part about Floor Coverings International Southeast Charlotte, they come to you. They bring the showroom to you. Yep, they got these cute little stock vans with all floor covering samples in it. Things that they have things that you might not even be aware of. So give them a call. Go online, yourflooringteam.com. That's yourflooringteam.com. Floor Coverings International Southeast Charlotte. No matter where you're at around the Charlotte metro area, they'll come to you. Rowan County, Cabarrus County, Gaston County, Lincoln County. I don't care where you're at. They'll come to you. That's Floor Coverings International, Southeast Charlotte, yourflooringteam.com. And don't forget Queen City Home Store. Queen City Home Store. Man, we're so grateful for their support on the show here. We couldn't do it without them. Couldn't do it without any of our sponsors, and we're so fortunate to have them. Queen City Home Store, been in the Charlotte 3 generations strong. 3 generations of player family, been here since 1952. Grown the business to be the ultimate in Queen City Home Store. Appliances, bedding, furniture, media, they got it. Best price, best selection, guaranteed. That's Queen City Home Store. Give them a call. Corporate, 704-391-6000. Online, which you can do your shopping. And now we got 4th of July savings coming up. 4th of July next week or week after. It's close. Here we are, 23rd of the month, and coming at us strong. 250 years
Saturday.
old. Next Saturday. And they've got a lot of specials and a lot of buys right now at Queen City Home Store. Go online. Check them out. QueenCityOnline.com. Queen City Home Store, 704-391-6000. Check them out. And today we're talking about heat. Dave Richardson's coming in hour number 2. And we're going to be talking about all kinds of groovy stuff, what's going on. Mostly put tools in schools and what's on. A lot of activity the past week, and we'll talk about it, no question. We've talked about attics, heat. Now I want to talk about air sealing. Remember, you don't fight heat, you fight humidity. The muggy feeling. You can have comfort right now in this, where I'm sitting. I'm 74 degrees, and I feel great. You don't feel any humidity, do you, Richton?
I don't feel any humidity right now, no.
No, it's comfortable.
It's very comfortable.
74 degrees, and I could jack it up to 76 and would still be comfortable. Because,
You did good, Ray.
What's that?
You did good.
Well, luckily, it's just, now the wall behind me here, the wall behind me is spray foam, open cell spray foam. And it does absolutely phenomenal work at insulating. So it's effective. And that's another something I'd like to talk about. If you're remodeling your house, you want to call ABS Insulating and get them to come out and do spray foam. And I want to talk about spray foams 1 second here, because if you've got an old home like over in Plaza Midwood and you're remodeling it, adding more space to it, what have you, I would highly recommend that if you go to the bare walls, meaning you gut the house, remove the plaster or drywall, whichever it might be, and you've opened the walls up. And some of those houses don't have sheeting on them because they're built back in the 40s and before, and they don't have sheeting on them. But if you open that wall up, instead of putting, open it up and tearing it all off, the siding off, you can put closed cell spray foam in that wall, and literally creates a greater, tighter structure, and it seals that wall, air seals it, and it creates more of a bonding aspect to it. Polyurethane foam is basically what it is, and you're adding strength to the structure. It works. That's closed cell polyurethane foam, and something I would highly recommend. Did a house over on Oakland Avenue it's been at least 10, 15 years back, and he couldn't afford it. But man, when he opened those walls up, to me, it would have been the thing to do is just spray it with poly, because it seals that whole wall up. Air seals it beyond anything else you can put in there. It's really good stuff. Just a consideration. But what you want to do is, if you've got an older home and ABS Insulating has an air seal program, call them up and question them about it, because what they do, they'll put a blower door test, put a negative pressure on the house, and find out through thermal imaging, you can find out where the problem areas are in heat transfer. And the best months to do thermal imaging are February, on the coldest day you can possibly do it, because of the differential. In the wintertime, you'll get down to 19, 20 degrees on a day. Maybe very rarely during the day you get that cold, but at night. But during the day, if the temperature is 32 degrees outside, around freezing, or even 35, well, inside's going to be around 70, 75 degrees. You got a 30 to 35 degree differential. When like today it's pushing 90 degrees inside. It's 76, and you're fighting for that. Well, see, the differential's smaller. So the point to that is, a thermal imaging camera picks up that differential on the screen, and you'll see it. You literally can see the temperature differences on a thermal imaging camera. Very effective. And it tells you where the problematic areas are in your home. And it's very evident. And another big place for leakage on slab homes, and I've got a friend of mine, I spoke of him earlier, Joe Jones. He's got a condo he bought, and he went and bought a thermal imaging camera because I had mentioned it to him. And the biggest leak in his condo is where the framing hits the slab. Back in the day when those condos were built, they weren't required to put a gasket or any air seal under the bottom plate. Well, today it's code. Back then it wasn't, and you'd be surprised how much air leakage you get around the bottom plate.
What decade you think those were built in? You
Oh,
had to take a
probably
guess.
mid 70s,
Got you.
maybe 80s.
So it hadn't even close to blowed up then, as far as that area.
No. Well, that's the college area. But you get a lot of leakage in the bottom plate in a lot of slab homes, a lot. Thermal imaging picks that up on a cold day. Or if you wanted to do it in the hotter months, you would want to do it in August, because your biggest differential is going to be on a very hot day. A hot day in Charlotte's anywhere in the 90s, because they are calling for 100 degrees Wednesday week, by the way. Wednesday week, 100 degrees. So there you go. So
we already had a couple of those days in, I think, May. It was about 100.
Well, it pushed it, yeah. We've had some hot weather. That's why I feel like we need to talk about hot weather. Remember, the first hour highlights of things you need to do is, one, go find your condensate drain. And if you've got a newer home and you questioning if you have an emergency drain, go around your house and look up at the soffit, the overhang of your house, and you see a little pipe sticking down. And they're very evident sometimes on some houses. I'll be driving down 485 around Mint Hill area, and I'll look over and I'll see a house with a big old rust stain.
Oh, yeah.
Big old rust stain on the siding where it's hit the roof and bounced and put a rust stain on the house. Well, that right there is telling me he got issues. Yeah, same thing. I went up to my friend's house up in Davidson one time, and I got out of the car and I noticed immediately there was a water stain right below where his emergency drain came out. And I said, you know your pan's overflowing, right? He said, no, I didn't. He said, how'd you know? I said, you don't know what that's for? Well, I didn't until today. So a little education there. So, yeah, he learned. But it's a big, I'm going to tell you something. If you don't know where your condensate drain is, you need to know, especially if you're on a slab. Because you're going to come home one day and your carpet's going to be wet and soppy and soggy, and then you're going to have to file an insurance claim possibly, get your carpet replaced. Or think of this. What if you got LVP or old Pergo? You got big time problems. You're going to have to empty the room. You don't need to do that. All you got to do is pay attention to your condensate drain, know where it's at, clean it out. That's the takeaway from this. And what's your homework assignment, Risty?
Go find my condensate drain.
Next week, I'm going to ask you about it.
All right, I'll have an answer.
Have you got a crawl space?
No, sir. It's a
Y'all
slab.
slab? Yours is going to be easy to find. Easy to find. When you find it, see how to clean it. Now, I know you're going to say, what? But seriously.
Well, you got to take preventative measures to avoid disasters.
Absolutely. And condensate drains cost you money. They really will. So, next hour, David Richardson's going to be in the house. And I spoke to Uncle Red this week. I was getting him on the show.
And heard about him since we left the studio.
Well, he's anxious to get down here in the new studio and play with us, and he might be in here next week.
Cool.
That's Uncle Red. Looking forward to it. He's excited. I called him and asked him to come down. He said he would love to, but he was tied up today, couldn't make it. So I thought I'd do solo first hour, and old Dave Richardson's coming in for the second hour, I think. He drives in here from Gaston County. Got good news about Dave and a new partnership. I don't know if it's partnership. I'd call it being part of the family. We've got good news to share with you about that. A lot of things coming your way about put tools in schools and how we can teach our youth about tools and the career pathways and opportunities available to them using their hands, mind, critical thinking, and tools. And it's real simple to do. All we got to do is put tools in the kids' hands and see what they can do. And that's the whole directive right there. I'm talking to you right now from the Toolbox. Toolbox is an interactive workspace that connects kids to pathways, tools, and adults. So go online, puttoolsinschools.org, see what you can do to help, and be a part of this initiative, as well as donating funds, because we got a lot of work to do. But it's a lot of fun. These kids love it. We're having fun doing it, and we're going to maintain it and grow it. And we're going to have more than one toolbox in the future, so I've been told. This is just the start. We need to teach these kids bring creativity, bring art back into it, because actually when you work with your hands and your mind, you're creating, you're empowering yourself, you're helping people. So make it a great event. The Toolbox, Put tools in schools. We'll talk to you next hour. Be right back to talk to you.